Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. If you are new to my channel, hi, my name is Nandria. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you are not new to my channel, hey girl, hey, welcome back. So as you guys can see, we are outside today. After my move, I'm trying to feel out some different spots to film some videos for you guys. So let me know if you guys like the outside feel. And also excuse me because since I'm outside, of course, I gotta let Sienna Banana outside to roam. So you might see her walking around and speak of the devil. Hi, mama. So as you guys can tell by the title of today's video, we are going to be talking about my loc journey. I am officially 4 years loc, which is kind of crazy to say because time truly flies, you guys. So I do already have a video up on my channel about my loc journey up until year 2, I believe. And I also have a video that talks about my tips for maintaining and growing healthy locs. So I don't want to be redundant in this video, so I'll be briefly talking about what pushed me to start my loc journey, things that I've learned throughout my loc journey, and things I might be cutting out based off of what I've learned these past 4 years. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. Okay, so starting off with why did I get locked? You guys, it was very plain and simple. I was tired of doing my hair. I was either doing wigs or braids or something of the sort. I think my last year I was like really rotating with wigs and I was really just getting tired of it. I wanted something that was versatile but also not time consuming and just also just easy to leave alone when I really didn't want, on those days that I really didn't want to do anything. And when I was in high school, I saw this girl with some beautiful locs, but she was growing her locs since she was like a little girl. And when I was going on YouTube, everybody was talking about the starter loc phase and they were basically calling it the ugly phase, and I was like, I don't want to go through an ugly phase, so I was always hesitant to do it. But in 2018 I think, when I was going to Jamaica for a friend's sister's wedding, I did faux locs, and the girl who did my faux locs did such a good job that I was like, no, like I would look amazing with locs. But in 2021 I was in grad school, and like I said, I was rotating these wigs and rotating these braids, and I was getting tired of it, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. So I started my locs with 2-strand twist and square parts. I started, and I'm gonna emphasize started, with 85 or 84 locs. But as time progressed, I have taken some locs out. I have combined some locs. So long story short, I do not know how many locs I have, but I'm pretty sure we are in the 80s ball range. Now, when it comes to maintaining the locs, really and truly, less is more. Now, I do want to put an asterisk here. Everyone's locs are different. What works for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for me. It really is kind of like a figure it out as you go. But for me, what I have learned is that my locs love routine and they love simplicity. So my go-to routine for my locs is to oil them once a week and to kind of mist them as I go and as they feel a little dry or whatever. I wash them. Now I have been washing them about once, maybe twice a month, depending on how I kind of keep up with my locs. If I'm probably like using a little bit too much edge control, I might shampoo it a little more. If it's winter time and they're really drying out, I might condition it more than shampooing it. But I try to keep it as like my base is 1 to 2 times a month. And as for styles, I do enjoy styling my hair. As you guys, I don't know if you guys can even see that this is a style really, because the bang kind of takes everything away. But when it comes to styles, once again, I also like to try and keep it simple. More often than not, you guys, I am wearing my hair down, because what I have learned these past 4 years is that tension is your enemy. Especially when it comes to the locs around my edges, I want to make sure that I'm keeping them as comfortable and tensionless. I want to make sure I'm not putting a lot of tension on them because they are thinner. I don't want to say thinner, but the hair around my edges are a little bit softer, a little bit less coarse than the hair in the middle and the hair in the back. So I really try and be very gentle with the locs in the front. Now, when I do leave it up or do styles where they are up, I will make sure to pull the ones at the front a little out so they're not as tight up in there, or as soon as the day is over, baby, they're coming down. Okay, they are coming down. I'm also tender-headed, so that also kind of like makes it just a little bit more easier for me to not want to do styles with my hair up. Now, protective styles for locks work just like how they do for loose naturals. It really gives your locks a little bit of a break away from the pulling, the pushing, whatever it is. It gives your locks a little bit of break. Now, it does depend on the protective style that you do. I stick to ponytails or something with like a sew and weave that kind of covers the locks. But honestly and truly, I really just be playing around with it just to see what I like and what I don't like. And the second, and I mean the second, my head starts hurting, baby, that style is coming out. One thing about me, I do not care how long it is. If it starts to bother me, I'm coming out. That style could be in my head for 2 days. Baby, once it starts hurting, it's going, okay? Because I don't play when it comes to those headaches from the tension and just I don't like pain. I don't like pain, so I try and keep it simple. Now, some of my favorite styles, low tension styles, are going to be your perm rods or your 2-strand twist. Now, 2-strand twist, I do want to say, I feel like is the cheat code for helping your locks grow, because you're really just leaving them. And they are going to grow even though they are in the 2 strands, but what I think I like the best about 2 strands, it also helps the retwist last. Because another thing that I have learned throughout these past 4 years, and this is contrary to what a lot of people were saying when I first started my lock journey, but retwists are not supposed to last very long. I don't want to say not supposed to, but they're not going to. They're really, the main purpose of a retwist is to help the new growth connect with the lock so that the lock can continue to grow. A lot of people are like, oh, my retwist only lasts 2 days. It's done its job. Your hair is going to continue growing together, but the retwist helps kind of start that process, if that makes sense. So what I like about 2-strand twist is that it helps the retwist last a little bit longer because the style kind of holds it into place. Now, when it comes to me, I will leave my 2 strands in for a very long time. I think the longest I've left them in is probably a month and a half almost. I take them out when it's either time to really do a thorough wash of my hair, or you can see like, baby, you need a retwist. Like it's time to go, because like I said, even in the 2-strand twist, your hair is going to start to get a little unkept because your hair is growing and you want it to grow. You don't want your retwist to be stuck, because I don't want to say stuck, but you don't want your retwist to be looking fresh from day 1 up until day 30, because that just means your hair isn't growing. So welcome the new growth. Welcome the unkemptness. Is that even a word? I think that's a word, but welcome it, because it just means that your hair is doing what it's supposed to be doing. As you guys can see, there are colored ends on my locks, and that is because during year 1 of my lock journey, after year 1 of my lock journey, I hit year 1 August of 2022, and then October of 2022 I dyed my locks red. Now this, how do I say this? This was definitely a learning curve for me, because 1, I have never dyed my hair before. 2, I did bleach for that, and then 3, the color red. That was probably my biggest pet peeve throughout that whole time. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the red. The red was a statement. The red spoke to that woman that I was at that time in my life. But baby, if I could go back, I would do a different color. For me personally, I had to bleach my hair to get it the red that I wanted, and it still wasn't even fully the red that I wanted, because my hair is like really black. I would advise, though, if you are starting out and you want to do a color, definitely go to a loctician to do that, unless you have experience dyeing your hair and you know the mechanics of it. The bleaching alone, I knew I was going to mess up my hair, so that's why I made sure to go to a loctician. The reason why I said I would do a different color, though, is because red really runs, and it also doesn't fade into I thought it was going to fade into like a burgundy, because it's mixing with the black, but no, it faded into like this ginger dirty blonde kind of thing. And that's why I would say I would do a different color, because I feel like it's a cute little ombre at times, especially when I take down my 2 strands, but I'm not a big fan of this color. So I'm giving y'all a little sneak peek. There might be a new color coming, so we'll see about that. And now I'm going to talk about the bad side. I don't want to call this the bad side and give you guys like a little scare, but I'm really just going to be talking about things that you really should keep in mind or watch out for as you are growing or as you are going throughout your own loc journey. The first thing is lint. You guys, lint was not a problem the first 2.5 years, I want to say. It was when my locks really dropped and started touching like my collarbone, kind of shoulder length, that it started being a problem, because when your hair is getting longer, more things are able to get trapped in it. I also blame myself because given my locks, I really just went to bed, got up, diddle something to it, and went out the door. But I want to stress, I truly want to stress the importance of putting your hair up at night, whether putting in a bonnet or putting on a satin scarf over it or doing something, but don't leave your hair out, like especially when you sleep, because that's when the lint monsters come out to get you. Okay, you guys, literally right now I have two very, I don't want to say they're not thin locks, but they have parts of them that are super thin, because I had to pull lint out of them, and then by the time I pulled all the lint out of it, there was barely any loc left. So that was something that I was kind of shocked about, and I didn't really hear a lot of people talking about it. Like now on TikTok, I'll see like little jokes here and there about like getting lint in your locks, but no, like that is serious. So when you have lint and you have to pull out the lint, you're pulling out the hair as well, so it leaves the loc very vulnerable. And since we are on the topic of weak locks, let me go back to what I was saying earlier in the video about the locks around my edges and them being the weakest ones. I think this stems from how you start your loc. So to give you guys a little bit of background, my hair, my loose natural hair, and honestly it really is still the same, because your hair texture doesn't really change, or mine at least hasn't really changed since I've locked my hair. But before, when I was a loose natural, my hair was 3C 4A, and the 3C was in the front while the 4A was in the back. So locks do, in my experience, locks do prefer thicker, coarser hair, because one, it helps them kind of mat together better, and two, it also gives you a stronger foundation for the loc. So with the locks in the front, I try to keep them uniform as to the ones in the back, but because this hair in the front is a little bit looser than the ones in the back, I should have made them a little bit bigger so that it was more hair per loc, if that makes sense. So I have a couple locks that are really thin at the front, because they started with a small section of hair and it was a small section of loose hair. So when it comes to those locks, I have to be extra diligent, especially when it comes to retwisting, because when you retwist the loc too much, it thins out. And if it thins out too much, it breaks. And I really don't want my locks to. But you do have to keep in mind, do you want to keep the loc more than you want to keep your locks healthy? So I did have a couple locks where I saw that they were thinning and I saw that they looked like they were going to break, so I joined them together. And I also actually have one loc in the back. I'll see if I can have it where I don't remember what happened, but I ended up having to join the locks. And the loctician I went to, and this wasn't even my loctician, so I was actually very upset that she did this. But now I kind of like, I'm not mad at it at all, because I'm like, I have a unique loc. It's cute. Everything happens for a reason, so we're just gonna move on. But she ended up joining them at like the base instead of like joining them fully into one, and you're gonna see, because it's like I call it my wishbone loc. The point of what I'm trying to say is sometimes you're gonna have to make some sacrifices and lose some locks just to make sure that your overall head of hair is healthy. And now that leads me to my last thing that I'm gonna be talking about, or trying to give you guys some little caution about, is bad locticians. So when it comes to maintaining your locks, just how you are taking care of your loc, you want to make sure that the person that you are paying money for or paying money to is also taking care of your loc just as much as you are. So please be very cautious of the loctician that you go to. I'm always mindful of the people that go in my hair, because I don't know, I feel like energy can pass. But please, 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 please be mindful of the locticians that go in your hair, because a lot of these locticians are just doing it for the money. They are not experts in taking care of locked hair. They're not experts in coloring locked hair. And a lot of people might think that doing locks is kind of the same as doing loose natural hairs and things like that. They're not. It takes a different touch, a different approach, a different skill set. So, and I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm really just going to sum it up by saying, if you go to a loctician and you don't feel comfortable, you don't like what they're doing, or something just doesn't feel right, listen to your gut, okay? 9 times out of 10, it's okay to do it yourself and just go to a loctician for like a cute style for a special occasion. That's something that I do sometimes. But please be mindful of the people that go into your hair, because you don't want to harm your locks. You got to nourish them and care for them, and the person that is doing your hair should also be on that same wavelength. We have reached the end of this video. My camera's overheating, so this outro might be a little sped up, but I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're also on your lock journey and have any other tips for those who might be starting their journey, or shoot, those who are already on their journey but still looking for tips, make sure to drop them in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next one.